Welcome everybody. I hope you have a lovely weekend and thank you for thank you for joining us to our semifinals of our weekly Oversalt tournament. This is your play-by-play caster Farx alongside with this week's color caster Alan Veal. Tonight we basically have another roundup in our semifinals bout. We have Eternal Eclipse against Ink Ink Germany or XGR. I hope I spelled that correctly. Alanville, have you ever observed these two teams before? And if
Mm,
so, what would you expect from them tonight?
to be honest, I haven't seen both of the teams yet, but since they have reached the semifinal, I think they are quite fine for both sides. I'm expecting, since we're probably going into Rialto as the first map, that we could probably see the spawn camp strategy, perhaps a bit of Reaper, but mostly I think we will have goats in here, as it's kind of still the flavor of the time in the meta. So could be interesting how both teams handle it, and I think communication, thanks to the goat strat, will be the most important thing to keep an eye out for.
Well, with 20 seconds left on the clock, we can basically throw a discussion. What do we expect for the next patch as the other teams getting ready underway soon?
I'm expecting a bit of an interesting situation now, since probably the new hero could be introduced with Baptiste, who could actually work well in the goats comp, but Blizzard is working on trying to tone down the goats, and it could be kind of interesting, but I feel like it's not going to be that well, and goats will still prevail in quite a while still.
And as we quietly wait until the matches start, we basically hold our breath. And as we see, we are having kind of a 2-2 lineup here with a kind of a kind of, I want to say a bit of a hybrid, a Lucio, a Genji to dive, and a Widow to snipe at the back. It feels a pretty very standard comp. But on the other hand, we do see, ironically, a Goats. So what do you think is basically their game plan with such a orthodox setup?
I think that their plan is to just, for example, snipe out the Ana or the Lucio first with the range, and then with the Genji diving onto that. I feel like they're missing a tank to really highlight that lineup, but now both teams are moving in to start a fight zone.
And as they do, basically, and it's going underway, we will see if anything goes to the corner, and as the Genji gets a dive and just gets shielded out of there, a little bit of her Goatcom just basically being prudent for a Goatcom. Going out to the second corner and the Genji just diving again, very suicide style, as finally the Goats might be finally going to rush in, bashing up here and there. No picks for the Widow to get on yet, and they all know they get the Genji. The red team is getting naded, and there's not left looking. It's actually looking very stalemate as the payload inch by inch is going a little bit close, and Oker up on the Widow being sleepy and not after the Genji being taken out. Looks like it's going to be falling off for the Tiam. Early hammered down, which finds nothing, and the Widow basically just run back to spawn. What a predicament. Looks like gold is still prevailing.
Yeah, goats will prevail. The fight just took a long enough time that the goat slam could farm up their ults, as we saw with the Reinhardt, who got his shatter out of that one. That's just kind of the thing with goats; they can stay out quite a while, but the dive lineup or this hybrid lineup has to go about that. But they're moving around already to create a pincer.
And it is, and this is not looking good for them, especially when Go Hammer down, gets up the Lucio, even though the arms is up. Diva Bomb is up, but doesn't get anything. What happened to Rumpel? He just went for a dive. Very well, not very hygienic in these waters, apparently. Just goes just basically beeping away back into them. The red team is stuck in a predicament in this semifinals. Well, I'm just curious to see if they're going to switch up or not.
Well, they are taking a few switches, but their switches are kind of a weird switch situation. Now it looks like they're going towards a weird lineup where they now have a Pharah, but no real main tank. They're going with the Zarya as the only tank, but I don't think that could really help them out in this moment right now.
That indeed it is, and here comes the blades out, but at the Graviton to stop the Genji to dive into nothing, and a counter Graviton that doesn't get anything, just all in futile, terrible execution by the red team. What is going on with them? Uh, uh, thought this is early in the semifinals. Come on, guys, get your head.
I felt like it could have gone a bit better. They kind of ran their nano boosted Genji into that graviton. Now they're switching up a bit more. Now they're running a Hammond, so they do have now a wrecking ball, so they do kind of have now a main tank. But I feel like their lineup, the the one tank lineup can work, but you have to get into the backline fast, and that's not what they're really doing. You need short bursts and just take them down, and the fight breaks out once again.
And speed is not really is the essence here, since only 50 seconds left on the clock, and it's looking very bleak already, with two miss already down, somebody sleeping on the job upstairs, and with only almost 30 seconds left on the clock, they need to really pull a miracle out, otherwise it looks like it's going to be an early GG.
Yeah, it's kind of an awful situation. They do have the Pharaoh ult now. They have now the pharmacy comp that could actually, if they find an opening to do something with that, they could probably create something with that. But unfortunately, I'm not sure if the Tracer and the Ash will do what they can, but now they're going in once again.
Unfortunately, they seem a little bit lost with basically the switch being too late. Already their Zenyatta is down. Pile Driver's Justice doesn't find anything. A hammer down just takes out, and a big Diva Bomb finds nothing. Just everybody needs to clear up the point. The Tracer and the Ash basically enough, and here comes the Zenyatta desperately just trying to hold on with every little breath on its life, but it looks like it's going to be a GG at this point. I don't believe there's no saving it unless some weird thing's gonna happen. Still hanging on as much as they can, as desperate as they can. The overtime is going down with only a little bit. They're so persistent as to look like a Reinhardt. The red team's right hand's going at the back. Graviton stop them all in the back. Looks like it's going to be GG round 1 for Team Blue.
Yeah, so I'm still a bit trying to wrap my head around what they wanted to do with that switch up of the Reinhardt into the Pharah. I think they wanted to go for the kind of Skyfox strat, but the problem with that is that they didn't switch up the support as well. So that's kind of a strat where they go with one tank, and that has to be a main tank. Most of the time, it's a Reinhardt where you then have almost everything going on to one support just to take it down, so the goat strategy breaks down. But unfortunately, they kept both supports up, and they had a Zarya as the tank there, and that kind of messed up what they wanted to do. And meanwhile, on the other side, Eternal Eclipse did quite well with their ults. They kept their ults quite together and just used the minimum amount they had to use for every fight just to win it out.
Well, I'm not. The one thing that I'm surprised is that Inc. GER, knowing that this late in the meta, and like it's kind of like the sky is blue kind of situation. It's so obvious. Like, I'm just surprised to just say, hey, let's go switch our goats ourselves and actually make this game happen. I don't know, they were trying to keep their honor or reserve themselves for marriage or something, or just trying to stay pure. But I'm surprised they haven't just like, okay, let's switch to goats and just keep this game going underway.
Yeah, that is something that could be that they just have the philosophy not to work around the goats. But as I said, one thing I think they were going to go for the Skyfox strat, which a lot of, for example, Chinese teams embraced quite a bit to take some matters into their own hand. But now they're going with a kind of bunker comp. This could be interesting depending on how they keep up the Torbjorn.
Looked like they were anticipating this time, and oh, look them dunk by the Lucio, puts the Reinhardt to the swimming. Looks like it's a very good stalwart defense now for NGR. Maybe they're gonna turn this around. I really hope so. Oh, now basically king out of their mech. Eternal is looking finite at this point, being able just getting knocked out back to the spawn point. Oh, how the table has turned.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a good way they're doing it right now. They have Kisame, who is getting good shots in, while Fukuyuro has just the aim with the turret and causing some more chaos. So actually, the enemy team has to keep their focus on 2 points, and they're going in
Oh,
on from
look at
behind.
that. They're just, yeah, their Kirika is coming in from behind with the team anticipated. While they're having the advantage being the high ground, the Lucio is in Goblin with such an unpredictable being alone, separating from their teammates. And that might cost them the match as they're being taken out, but it looks pretty even. But the payload is still moving. And with Inc. being so out of position. Looks like they don't have any momentum or anyone to tank to stop this payload going. Torbjorn flare out, fires up, but might at least put everything on a slowdown. But just a hair threat away from victory and just try to keep it close. They might even try desperately to push Eternal back, but blue stuff on Angel Prime. Everybody's looking bad. Hammer down gets only the Roadhog, and he is naded, but it does takes out two. Ink is in a lot of trouble right now. I don't think it doesn't look very good for them. A
Ooh.
Diva Bomb comes, High Note goes, a very early win for Team Eternal Eclipse.
Yeah, as you said, one of the most important parts of that fight was just instantly how the Lucio went out of that fight for the side of Ingjur. That was unfortunately something they should have tried to avoid. And one of the other things that was really detrimental for them in that fight was they woke up the sleeping Reinhardt who got nano boosted. That was kind of a bit of a bad situation for them.
And indeed, looks like Inc has to basically throw in their honor and loosen that chastity built of pureness inside if they're ever gonna get a win. Because looks like Eternal Eclipse is here to play and they are ready to fight dirty.
Yeah, I mean, there are a few situations they could go around. They could try really to go with a dive comp because sometimes if the goats lineup isn't really that prepared for something like that, they could do something with that. But we're going on to Blizzard World where there are a lot of situations. Goats isn't really is prevalent prevails on all parts of the map, but there are a lot of different strats because every point on Blizzard World gives a different verticality and stuff like that to create more openings for both teams.
It's more of a question also how good are how all the team are basically to utilize these advantages as you say.
Yeah, that's something important. I think Inc could use that quite well. They've been showing that they are willing to go different strats, that they don't just try to do one thing. And I mean, especially for example, they could, for example, place up a turret on Duskwood. They could place a Bastion up on Duskwood for the first point and kind of close that one off. There are a few situations they could use, for example, Bastion or a Torbjorn, which they have shown already a Torbjorn. So they have a few positions where they could place the turret and then attack about that one. I think they should just try to avoid a bunker comp and not put too much resources into the Torbjorn.
Honestly, they did actually look very good for the way I see it. It feels a little bit like watching horror movies. The writing is good, the idea is good, but the execution tends to be terrible. That's why like most horror movies tend to suck. But I hope like basically gather themselves around. They have potential. They just need to have a better execution and utilizing it, positioning, etc. What do you think?
Yeah, that is something they should do actually, and if they're going with this comp, it could actually help them out because they now have a tank that goes on with the Genji, so the Genji isn't the solo focus of the enemy team as he dives onto the enemy team. It's kind of interesting that they're going with a Mercy in this situation. I would have probably thought more about an Ana in this case, but could be quite interesting, but it feels like it's more for the pharmacy than anything else.
That is indeed true, and basically, we will see as the premiere of this game opens up. We will see if this showing is going to be better than the last time. And here goes underway, going back behind the big statue. Overway now to the crossroads. Looks like they're going to the left side, up to the point. Still yet to be ready to be contested. The Eternal basically holding their breath again with their goats in the point. Now we'll basically see as Letling basically try to put a point, and maybe this gets taken out a big opportunity for Ink as it takes up the Ana and basically Kings goes out of his mech. It doesn't look good for them. Angel Prime basically saying no, it's vengeance, avenging his friends by taking out, and it looks like King's car insurance game went in fast, summoned, and just taken out the Genji quickly. Even though a very good start for Team Inc. Looks like Eternal is holding it for now, even though at the cost of their main tank Reinhardt. But the question is, will they get back in time? They're rushing back, knowing they have in time, and what a stagger, taking out the Pharah, their biggest threat thus far for this matchup. With the Brigitte up, Eternal looks like is getting the momentum back in their favor. Graviton's up. It looks like it's going to take up the rest of the team. A very bold res, which reaps no reward whatsoever. Eternal is having this first point on lock.
Yeah, and you say they have it on lockdown, but they had to use quite a few ults just to keep it out there. And right now, Inc has the advantage with the ults, with 5 on their account right now. So they could create something with this. They have to just be careful that they do it correctly. But right now, this is kind of really hopeful for everybody who's on the side of Inc to just see them actually showing up that they can actually work against the Goats comp with this lineup.
What do you think happened? But we will ask this question later as a big slam dunk takes out 3. That was insane. Now with triple support, this is forcing Team Eng to go back. LeBron James by King dunked. And basically, wow, I am speechless. That was a very nice ball.
Yeah, that was a very nice bomb, and still, Inc have the chance. They got stalled out with that Diva bomb. They do have still 5 ults up. They can do a lot with that one. They just have to keep their focus fire up. I think that was one of, unfortunately, the downfalls in the last fight, that they didn't really focus one target down most of the time. And now Diva bomb
Now
is coming
fully
in.
loaded and all that, here comes a retaliation. That doesn't find anything this time, but it takes out the main prime. Transcendence out with only a full house of ulti. Justin's reign, one by one. The ulti keeps popping up for Eng and slowly being and basically being taken out. A duel against Revenant Ana takes up the Zenyatta, but Vengeance strike back as it looks like Eternal is getting forced back at the time being. Well, they basically hold on with just an inch left. It looks like we're going to take this first point for once. And Angel Prime being so far, he gets scattered in the return.
Yeah, 2 good staggers they do have there, and as we've seen, they had a bit more focus in this fight. They still have the Genji ult, they still have a Reinhardt Shatter, so they do have ults up. They're close to Valkyrie. They can force something out of this one, but they have to be careful about the reinforcements, and they're just gonna stay on the payload as it looks right now. But they've been playing quite well. Kisame has a chance to really shine with his ult if they can create an opening for him, and I feel like that is what he needs. There's a rally going out and the fight begins.
And the fight begins basically and growing out, and basically student and mentor just rushing around, taking out the Rhine and putting a total emergency break on Team Eng support and pushing them back to reverse all the way back to their spawn point very quickly. There was only 2 minutes left on the clock. Basically, we will see if they'll have another opportunity to utilize. And here comes a charge which finds nothing at the time being. But luckily, no opportunity for it to get punished. As now the team basically face to face. It's more about the team's opening. Look at the sneaky farmers going above. And the reigning Justice to the 3. And on the return, Angel Prime basically on the other hand, he gets but blue stuff but doesn't find anything. And now with both teams separated, they're trying to turtle up again once more with the loss of their Ana. Maybe it will be a good opportunity. It was only Kisame. I see him on the front line. Where is the rest of the red team? Oh, here they are. Time to shine. And he basically takes out Brigitte, only basically to get stuck in the grab. Now it's a chaos at the moment as King throws in another bowling Diva mech bomb, takes out Let's Link. And it looks like seems to be going in the favors of, oh no, that looked like Eternal seems to having this favor at the moment, as this close as this point looks into chaos, but I spoke too soon. The low shoes gave them some room to breathe, as it allows them 4 people to push into the point and basically just going up, and maybe they'll have this, maybe they don't, but it's looking very close with 45 seconds on the clock. Now they're gonna contest. Hammer down by Eternal, doesn't find anything. Now it's 1-to-1 trade. A Brawl rallies up and basically gets stopped by Let's Link with 30 seconds left now. The Team Blue is getting pushed back. Blue stuff on Angel Prime. He's about to spread his wings, but but that's a metaphor because he can't fly up to the Pharah, but he managed to fire strike and cut that Mercy in half. With 10 seconds left on the clock, it is looking very tight, very close close for Team Inc. to settle this out. How are they doing? To desperately continue. No, sorry, it was Kisame. Desperate Blade doesn't find anything, gets taken out fast. It does not look for Team Inc. And one by one, they dropped with the pharmacy up in the air. There's only little opportunity for them to contest the point. The hammer down finds everything. It looks like it's a win for Team Eternal with a solid defense right near the second point.
Yeah, and as I said, we've been seeing Eternal using their ults quite nicely, and we've seen this towards the end of the fight as well. Once again, it looked a bit chaotic, but you saw the whole time that Eternal was trying to just use one ult at a time, not really force out more ults, which could have cost them in quite a way. But they just kept on saving it up. While you saw on the side of Ink that there were a few ults that were thrown together. For example, I felt like the sound barrier was a bit of an iffy situation. It did give him a bit more of a push, but perhaps wait a few more seconds where you have more teammates there. And unfortunately, I have to say Kisame on the Genji didn't really impress me that much. Unfortunately, most of the time he went in, he either got instantly graphed as the solo graph, which was most of the time towards the second point, or he just got instantly blown up by the enemy team.
That is very why basically. I don't know how Genji basically performs against Ghost because he seems to hold the fire to water kind of scenario against this composition because even though it's a threatening against Ghosts.
Yeah, it's kind of that situation. The Genji can get in there if the Goats team is not really careful. He can do some damage. But for example, if the Brigitte is on his heels instantly and just waits for him and just hits him with the shield bash, then the Genji's kind of out of it already because he's then stunned up and then they just finish him off most of the time. And the targets most of the time in the Goats comp, except the supports, are too beefy for him to really do much with that. But right,
Exactly. And
but
now
right now, I
basically
would say Ink's lineup is interesting with the Sombra and the Mei. I would expect one of them, but not both at the same time. Sombra is quite nice against Goats, especially with that EMP that just instantly drops shields.
and we'll basically see as this goes underway and they're just the Angel Prime having no quarters even though they're getting walled off. It takes out the Sombra with no ability for them, but maybe a little bit beefing reward as Eternal already loses their main tag and being forced back it's so darn aggressive and kind of basically split out. The Zarya basically go up at she devil. She's trying to be slowly backing away, and the other team just refuse to just stay right in their faces. Maybe they don't want to give them some ground, and they got punished for it as well. Staggering Kisame now redeeming himself on the Mei, taking out both supports, finding this good opportunity to push Team Eternal back to their spawn. They're now based in the choke point, throwing going back and back. Maybe they're trying to stretch their neck too far. Maybe they know that's enough. All that we know right now is that they succeeded defending for now and backing up.
Yeah, and Ink played it wonderfully. They put up the walls quite nicely. Fukurio is just hiding in the back, waiting for opportunity to just pop up. Last time he just got beat by the Ana, but now they're going in with the rally.
Hammered down, basically a very nice by Angel Prime shattering, and here comes a big king taking out two. Just a solid counter statement, but the May all basically finds enough time for Goblin to take out two teammate, but looks like he cannot do this on his own for now. There's only Moira left to defend the point. I said that too soon. She gets taken out. Looks like Team Eternal is might be having this. Oh, and here comes the Reinhardt out of nowhere, He just takes out boss. Level 3 down. This is looking very tight, and Bleak Angel Prime holding on with his inch of a threat of his life. This is looking very chaotic. Ladies jump back and forth they go. Even though they got two ticks, and even though it looks two Bleaks, they somehow managed to keep Team Eternal off the point, one tick away. That was just pure insanity at the moment. And
Yeah.
well, the question is, will it Team Eternal regain their composure or just say there's not even gathering up? I'm surprised. I thought they would gather themselves up. They're so stubborn. and getting them, and he's calling them a stagger with 1 minute left on the clock.
Yeah, it was brilliantly played by Ink actually on on that part. I mean, the Sombra went in, hit the EMP, the Reinhardt just charged and instantly hit the Shatter, so no shields could have stopped him there because the EMP was still inactive in that moment, so they got an opening. And after that, they just cleaned up everything they found, and now the fight is going on once again.
Once more with only 40 seconds, a big wall just to stop, only to have an Angel basically shattered to being halted and a grab to retaliate. And basically here comes another May ult. Let's Link is down, but the only basic looks like is looking right now for Team Eternal. That May ult opened a lot of doors of big opportunities. We're going to college, ladies and gentlemen, and I will about to graduate very quickly with 15 seconds left on the clock. My finally looks like Team Inc. might have this in the bag with Omni now. People playing rush character, Eternal, just rushing in with a Hammond, trying to survive with only 4 seconds, 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second. We're going in on overtime. Hammer down. The rally is up for Team Eternal, basically gathering up, but maybe there's not enough damage. The Lucio to retaliate for Team Ink, and there comes a big wall just to protect the team, but only to have Goblin sacrifice. Where right now it looks like a pub brawl. Oh my god, are they gonna have this? This is unbelievable. On overtime, Team Eternal is shifting that momentum around towards them. Two people left. They got this point. Team Eternal somehow pulled off a miracle and they managed to get the first point.
Yeah, that was very important that they got Goblin out of that fight because otherwise I think the healing would have been out of that one. But honestly, I have to say Kisame has been pulling up a lot as this May. The both of the blizzards were so good. Almost all of the enemy team were caught in those, so it was a great area denial and it was even freezing them down so they couldn't really escape. And right now we see them moving forward. Now, unfortunately for you is not having his luck again. Now his Junkrat get blown up.
And basically just gives him the advantage as slowly but surely the God's Comp is composition trying to spell Ink's doom. We're such a lucky, but I spoke too soon as I realized they are also human. But a good graph in a nade allows Let's Link to be taken out, but another good Blizzard trying to chill out the Brigitte. Now it's looking 1-1. We'll have to see basically after the Dust Ball is over who is going to be on the side on. A lot of casualties from both sides. But looks like Team Inc. has maybe one more shot with 1 minute left on the clock. Let's see who this time pulls out the miracle because it is looking very close for both team right now.
Yeah, it's very close for both teams right now. We have to be careful. Both sides have one side Ink has one ult less right now with two against the three of Eternal, but right now they're moving in and we see the Diva Bomb already jumping in.
And who lets it get? Oh no, it got Kasama the star prize, but oh, Let's Link basically hammers them, pulls them off their feet, but only until the Lucio up to set to save them for any instant kiss. Grabbed by Angel, retaliates, opening also more opportunities for Team Eternal. With 30 seconds left on the clock, Angel has blue stuff. He's pissed off. Bob Romden to find sleep, being shielded by the Reinhardt. Is only the one person standing between them and the payload right now, buying Team Inc. enough time to probably get back up. Because only Let's Link is down. Basically, it's a brawl at the time being. King basically takes down. It's very hard to see who is. That is the issue with this Goat's fight. It's pretty chaotic, but I'm seeing a lot of blue name tags right now. Team Eternal might have this. Is it going to be GG? Let's Link. Here comes with his Hammond. Desperate trying. He's going up the point again. With oh my god, it goes around. He's basically trying to do what he can. Hammer down, denies Team Inc. to stop the payload. GG for Team Eternal Eclipse. What a great match that was.
Yeah, it was a good match. I felt like Ink finally found their footing in the second matchup, and Kizama deserves the play of the game for what he has been doing during the matchup. You see that that freezing down. Everybody's frozen from the enemy team, and they just take shots at the whole enemy team there.
Well, I guess finally, that's indeed. Even though they are down by 2 points, they still are not out of this yet. And as far as their performance going and how the second game went close, finally, at least they're finding their rhythm, so to say. So I'm looking forward to how they adapt even more towards the third game. Or wait, that's
Unfortunately, we
out
won't
of
see
three,
it.
correct? All right. I my apologies, ladies and gentlemen. I just keep getting confused about best out of five, best out of two. But with that being said, we'll just go quickly on break for 1 second.